The final shape is here, and server issues aside, it's time to get you up to speed with all the brand new shiny fangled weapons from the Pale Heart of the Traveller. As always, I'm going to cut to small talk and get right on with it. In return, maybe drop a like and leave a sub so that you can come back next time for some more helpful Destiny 2 content, and maybe also tell a friend as well. With tons of brand new perks, weapon archetypes and ridiculous perk combos, there's something for everyone here, starting with the bold endings. Now this is the brand new Stasis Heavy Burst Sidearm, which fires in that 2-round burst much like the Warden's Law hand cannon that has been a mega popular hit for quite some time. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the origin trait. This is called Dealer's Choice. Now final blows with this weapon grant a small amount of super energy. Equipping multiple weapons from the Pale Heart increase this effect. Now I would imagine that the breakdown of the percentage given by this from just one weapon will be about 0.5% of your super energy, and then equipping maybe 2 or 3 weapons may boost this up to 1%, maybe even 1.5% with 3 weapons equipped. Given that the Mantle of Battle Harmony at a base level does give 1.5% super energy return, then I can't imagine that an origin trait is going to be as strong as that exotic straight out of the gate, but maybe if you are using all 3 weapons from the Pale Heart, then potentially Dealer's Choice could be a really good origin trait. Now in terms of perks that you want to look at on these weapons, and specifically these heavy burst weapons, then I really think that first off you want to look at boosting the magazine size of the weapon, and remember that all of these weapons are going to be craftable, so you're going to be able to pick and choose these once you do manage to get the red border patterns for them. So you want to look at something like appended mag, tactical mag, or even extended mag, which are going to give you, upwards of 22 rounds in a magazine, and then paired with something like the backup mag mod, which is basically the go-to mod at the minute for literally every single weapon in the game, then you're going to get an absolute ton of ammo on these things, and they are just really good for dealing with champions and dealing with higher health enemies, and especially them hunters with the Lucky Pants combo, then these things do absolute bits. But in terms of perks that you're going to want to look out for, then you've got Headstone in that 3rd column. Now that's going to give you the ability to create stasis crystals on precision final blows, and you could potentially pair that with something like Dragonfly in that final column, which will ultimately automatically explode them stasis crystals and get the effects of Headstone rolling, and paired with some of the artifact mods and the new stasis fragments and aspect changes that have happened this season, then I think Headstone and Dragonfly could be a really good combo. You've also got Rapid Hit, which is excellent at just boosting the stability of these weapons. It's going to make it really nice, it's going to give you that snappy reload speed too, and you also want to look at pairing that with something like Golden Tricorn in that final column for a damage boost, or maybe even Desperate Measures, which is making an appearance on these Pale Heart weapons as well for that 30% damage boost. And if you get any ability final blows going, then you potentially get that 50% damage boost with Golden Tricorn. You've also got the good combo of Headstone and Demolitionist, which is going to give you a percentage of grenade ability energy back on weapon final blows. Headstone final blows will also count, so you could potentially double down and double dip with that perk combo. Moving on, we've got the Someday, which is the kinetic precision frame shotgun. Now this is going to be a mega popular pick in the Crucible, to be honest, because it's the first kinetic precision frame shotgun that we've had in an absolute age, and to be honest there is a ton of good perk combos that will suit you whether you play PvP or PvE. So let's break down some of these perk combos. First up, you've got the mega popular pick of Threat Detector and Opening Shot, which is just going to massively boost this thing through the roof. As you can tell by the stats on the left hand side of this D2 Foundry, then it just makes this an absolute monster, and as you can tell, that is why it's going to be such a good pick in PvP. In terms of PvE, then I think you probably can't go wrong with Lead from Gold and Recombination. Recombination at that 10 times stack is going to give you that 100% damage boost, and Lead from Gold is always pretty much going to have this thing topped up with ammo. Moving on to the Call. Now this is the thing that everyone's going to be going absolutely crazy about. This is the 2nd special rocket assisted frame sidearm, and so this is basically the Strand version of the Indebted Kindness, which was so so popular from the Warlord's Ruin dungeon. Now this thing is going to do absolute bits as well, to be fair. It has absolutely immense build crafting synergy with Strand, and it just has some top tier perks as well. Obviously if you are going down that Strand build crafting synergy, then you're going to want to look for Slice, which is going to allow you to sever targets on using your class ability, and then if you pair that with Hatchling, you're going to be able to create Threadlings, and it is just a really nice synergistic combo that is going to do bits whether you are building into Strand or shying away from it a little bit in terms of just its viability. Obviously Hatchling is going to work regardless of being on Strand, and likewise Slice is going to work as well, and it's going to give you that 40% damage reduction from enemies that are affected by that severed debuff. You also do have the excellent combo of Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie if you want any sort of grenade focused builds. One of the more popular ones that was going around though last season, especially on the Indebted Kindness, was Lead from Gold, and this one can really do bits with a ton of different perks in that final column, whether you're going for any of the damage boosting perks like One for All, Desperate Measures, Vorpal, or even Golden Tricorn. And although I don't think it is the best pick on this sidearm this time round, I think it is not a bad shout, to be fair as well. Next up we've got the No Hesitation. Now this is the brand new solo support frame auto rifle introduced with the final shape, and so this thing is, I think, going to be absolutely bonkers. Now straight out of the gate you're going to want to look at something like Physic. Now this is a brand new perk whereby rapidly healing allies grants restoration to you and your allies, and I think if you want to pair this with something like the Circle of Life in that final column whereby rapidly healing allies grants this weapon a period of increased damage, then this thing is going to be absolutely insane. Alternatively, if you don't want to go with Circle of Life in that final column, then I think Incandescent is a really good pick, and obviously if you're leaning to getting Restoration and Radiant going with any of your solar builds, then this thing is going to be a really good weapon, and I think maybe borderline exotic, and probably putting something like the brand new Red Death exotic pulse rifle as a close call for being one of the best support weapons in the game at the minute. Alternatively, you do have Overflow, which can also do bits, especially if you're looking at some sort of damage boosting perks, and we've also got Demolitionist, which with Incandescent and maybe even the Circle of Life, then potentially can really work nicely. But if I'm going to look at crafting this one, then I think Physic along with the Circle of Life really is the way to go, and this thing is going to be, I think, a standout pick in a lot of people's loadouts this season. Next we've got the Axial Lacuna, which is the Solar Precision Frame Fusion Rifle. Now solar fusion rifles are pretty much 10 a penny at this point, but this thing does have some good perks. We've got Reconstruction in that third column, which is going to double the magazine size of this, so if you get something like Ionized Battery or Enhanced Battery, then you're going to be able to boost the magazine size of this weapon. And if you want to pair that with something like Controlled Burst in that final column, then you're going to get a ton of damage. Obviously Controlled Burst is going to give you that 20% damage increase on hitting every shot or on final blows with this weapon, and is a really good perk. Obviously it's what made Scatter Signal so popular last season. Alternatively, we do have Incandescent again for that solar subclass synergy, and we've also got a ton of good damage boosting perks in that final column. Desperate Measures, Vorpal, Frenzy, Surrounded, all excellent picks in my opinion. Moving on, we've got Embraced Identity, which is the Void Adaptive Frame Sniper Rifle. Now what have we got on this one? Well, first we've got Destabilizing Rounds in that third column, which is going to allow you to create volatile explosions and dish out volatile damage to nearby enemies on final blows with this weapon. And I think where you want to go with that one in the final column is maybe Redirection, because this thing's going to basically allow you to build up stacks of Redirection and get a good 20% damage boost pretty much consistently. Obviously not really wanting to use sniper rifles for ad clear, but in terms of this viability, then you've got potential for maybe 1 or 2 shots taken out out a ton of enemies with destabilizing rounds and then triggering them stacks of redirection just for pretty much a near on consistent damage boost. Alternatively, rewind rounds 4 times the charm. If you want an infinite sniper rifle with no reloads, then that's the funny gun roll, and that's the one that you really want to chase down and go for. And you know, to be fair, snipers aren't that good, so if you do want something a little bit unique, then rewind rounds 4 times the charm. I think that's the one that I'm going to be crafting, to be honest. Funny gun do funny things. Next we've got the Pro Memoria. Now this is the Strand Heavy Aggressive Frame machine gun. Now in terms of perks and combos that we've got going on here, then I think Hatchling and Dragonfly could be a really good pick for ad clear. Now obviously machine guns, you're not going to want to use these for DPS, and although this does have some good DPS boosting perks, then I think Hatchling and Dragonfly is going to really allow you to double down into the Fredlin generation of this machine gun. Alternatively, you might want to look at something like Envious Assassin, which I think is the first time that we've seen Envious Assassin on a machine gun, and that's going to allow you to basically triple the magazine size of this weapon. And if you want to pair that with something like Target Lock, then this is going to be really good at bursting down, you know, champions, mages and maybe mini bosses, especially throughout the Legend campaign, maybe some of them Legend and Master Lost sectors, and I think is just going to be a really good little Strand machine gun for you to use. And you know, alternatively, if you really want to go down this way, then maybe even Reconstruction and Bait and Switch could be really nice. Obviously Bait and Switch needs that little bit of setup, but you're going to get that 30% damage increase for 10 seconds. Then we've got the False Idols, which is the Solar Vortex frame sword. Now solar swords do absolutely amazing and probably are a little bit slept on, but I think there's maybe only 1 or 2 picks on this sword that are really going to be ones that you're going to want to go for. And I think Incandescent in that 3rd column, along with something like Chain Reaction in that final column, is going to give you some immense solar build crafting synergy. It's going to be great for ad clear, and in situations where you don't need a heavy weapon for DPS, then this thing's going to allow you to just dish out a ton of pain to a lot of enemies very, very quickly. Alternatively, you've got the Relentless Strikes, and you can pair that with something like 4-pull weapon, Bait and Switch, or maybe even Surrounded for some good damage boost and some good ammo generation as well. I hope this helped you make some excellent decisions as to what your ideal god rolls are for these. Remember to drop a like and leave a sub so that you can come back next time for some more helpful Destiny 2 content. Your ongoing support is massively appreciated, and you're now ready to check out this new Final Shape build breakdown video next.